are we doing today, though, for real? We doing good? Esther, it never fails. It never, ever fails.
Always.
Sometimes it's
She always brings the energy.
All right, so tonight, this morning, thank you. We are starting a new series called Who's Your Few, and you're going to see a couple different speakers throughout this series. We're just going to be kind of hitting on good friendships because, like Rich said, we've all been in good friendships. We've been in bad friendships. Yeah. We know what good friendships and bad friendships look like. And obviously, like the three of us, Eris in the back and Danny, who's not here today, are all pretty close. And any of you who know us would know that. If you follow any of us on Snapchat, you probably know we almost live together.
Staycation 2017.
Yes. So, just from experience, we want to talk about what good friendships look like and try to set some ground for you guys and lay some examples out there. So Darius is actually going to start us off, and then we're just going to kind of share from our own stuff. So Darius, I'll go ahead and let you start.
Awesome. So I was a church kid. How many church kids do we have up in here?
Just a few of us?
Yeah. We got a couple. So, if you don't know what that means, I basically just grew up in I did all the activities that my church did. Raised in Warsaw. I had a blast doing it. But outside of church, okay, fantastic. But outside of church, I hung on like a really bad crowd. Just people who like smoked at a really young age. One of my friends actually started smoking at the age of 9. This did a bunch of bad stuff. They got into random fights with random people just off the streets. For me, I thought they were just the coolest people. So, to try and fit in with them, I would just do what they did. But I didn't smoke. But I did get into fights all the time. I got into fights with my family. I got in fights with random people off the street. One time, actually, me and my brothers were playing video games. And I can remember this quite clearly. I grabbed the controller that I was playing with and just smashed it over my little brother's head. Because I think I was mad, and I just felt like that was like the best way to express it, but obviously it wasn't. So I just did like a lot of bad things, and really I became a jock really to my family, my friends, just like all my relationships. I just became like a huge jock, and of course who you hang out with is who you become. So after a while, I started to get more serious about my faith then, and I started getting more serious about God. And so, after that, I still hung around those people, though. And so, instead of, me just wanting to, hang out with them, I wanted to, try and help them, bring them up to, know Jesus, know God. But, it's Ryan has talked on this. Rich has talked on this. If you guys ever go in Main Sanctuary, Josh Panther has talked about this. It's, harder to bring them up to where you are for them to drag you down to where they are. And basically, I'm going to do a little illustration. So if I try to, pick John up, it's not going to do that much, as if John just pulls me down very easily. So, just a little illustration right there. But yeah, after a while, I just realized it was just holding me to just stay with them. So I had to, cut ties with everyone. And it was really hard because I was friends with them since I was in 3rd grade, and we would just do everything together. But they weren't the best influence on me, so I just had to cut those ties. And after a while, then I met Brendan and Eris. I knew John for a while, but we didn't talk as much as we do now. A couple things to really ask yourself is are your friends holding you back, or are they pushing you forward? Are they building you up, or are they tearing you down? And are they with you through the hard times, or just your high points?
That's good. And so a couple things I want to throw out there. One, if you're not taking notes, I definitely believe you should be, because note takers are what?
History makers.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got a couple. One person got it. We need to build that tradition up here. Any of you who've been in the United High School know that's a thing we shout every Wednesday. But no, seriously, note takers are history makers. So if you're not taking notes, do it, because Darius had some great stuff that I believe will seriously impact your friendships. And then the other thing that I forgot to mention at the beginning before I get into my part is we're actually going to do a Q&A at the end of this. So we're going to put a phone number up on the screen. If you have any questions, please text them in once that number's up there. If you have any questions related to friendships at all, just you can text them the number, and then the three of us will kind of tag team answering those at the end. No, we don't have any of your numbers saved, so I won't know who you are. But yeah, so if you have that, and we'll leave that up there, so we don't have to take that down. But I want to talk a little bit about encouragement and accountability in friendships, because one thing I've learned through experience is what? Okay. One thing I've learned through experience, through years of friendships, is encouragement and accountability are two things that will seriously keep a stable friendship going. And without those, it'll go for a little bit, and then it'll kind of crash and burn. So I'll start with accountability. And accountability is, it basically in the simplest form, is just simply holding one of your friends up, keeping them doing the right thing, but doing it from the right heart. You don't want to, like, if you see one of your friends doing something stupid, you're not gonna, you should call them out for it. Like, let them know politely from a good, like, friendship, like, hey, I'm looking out for you kind of thing. Let them know that they're doing something stupid. Like, a few months back, John was in a relationship that wasn't, I'll say it wasn't the greatest, and no, I'm not like tattletaling on him. We talked about this before. But it wasn't the greatest, and our friend Danny kind of, he pointed it out. He was like, John had texted him one day. He was like, hey, like, what are your thoughts on what's going on here? What do you think? And Danny had two options: to either tell him like, hey, you're in a relationship, you're with a girl, you're happy, that's awesome, I'm proud of you, or to say, you're being dumb, this isn't working for you, you need to get out of it. And he chose the second option. Maybe
likewise also, when your friend tells you something like that, you have two different ways to respond to it. You can either take what they're telling you and get offended by it and ruin a friendship over something small as who you're dating, because I knew them long before I was dating this person. You can either get offended and end a friendship, or you can take their advice, because they can see what you aren't, and they're your best friends. They love you, and they're trying to speak like life into your life. They're trying to help you as best as they can, and a lot of times listening to your friends is a lot better than, oh, I know everything, I don't need you guys.
That's good. Yeah, I think, clap, absolutely.
Josiah over here clapping.
Like I said, accountability is great, and you. Wherever the candy box is, you guys are getting some after service for that. That was great. But no, for real, accountability, you need it, and I'm thankful that I've had friends that have held me accountable. And likewise, kind of like Danny did with John, the same thing had happened to me when I was in middle school. Which, side note, don't date. Just wait. But
wait till after high school.
Wait till after high school. But when I was in middle school, I was in a not so great relationship too. And again, Danny called me out for it, and he was like, "You got to get out of this. This isn't right for you." And thankfully I did, because it got me closer to God's calling for my life. But that's another thing for another time. A good friendship is based, with Jesus at the center, and John will talk more about that later too. But a good friendship keeps Jesus at the center and always holds each other accountable to the standards of Jesus. So, a good friend is going to keep you in check with those things. That's enough on that. I want to talk about encouragement now. Another great thing about friendships, another key to keeping a solid friendship alive, is encouraging each other. You always want to build each other up more than you tear each other down.
Yeah.
And I said this last night, it's second nature, especially for a group of guys like us. It's just natural for us to go at each other's throats and roast each other. That's what it is. That's how a lot of friendships are, and I'm sure you guys can attest to that. The boys over here definitely know what it looks like. I see it all the time from you guys, and I love it. But and that's great. Fun and games is cool. It's fun. It is. But with that, don't ever forget to encourage each other and build each other up. So 1 Thessalonians 5:11 in NIV. It says, "Therefore encourage one another and build each other up, just as in fact you're doing." So it's not just one of those friendship standards that we should be doing just because it's right, but it's literally biblical. The Bible says to be nice to each other. I try to do my best in that. I try to hold these guys up, and again, you could ask either one of them. We go at each other a lot. That's just it's how we are. But we try to, all of us try to never forget the importance of of encouragement and just like making sure that we're all doing good. Like I'll text John and Darius and be like, hey, how you guys doing? You having a good day? Let's talk. And then, just last night, I texted one of my friends at like 3 a.m. He was like, hey, you're doing great. I'm proud of you. It's little random things like that that can really make a difference and help keep a friendship alive. Because honestly, no one wants to be around a jerk. And that's just what it is. Yes.
Over here.
But no one wants to be around that kind of thing. If you could be doing good for a while and the friendship may last for a while, but eventually it's just going to fall apart because you always want to leave. It's just natural that you want to leave someone else's presence feeling better about yourself. And likewise, I hope that these guys, when they hang out with me, I hope that when they leave, when we're done at the end of the day, I hope that they feel better about themselves than they do when we got together. Yeah. And if that's not happening, we've kind of missed the point.
Your jokes and like your roasts of each other should never outweigh how much encouragement you give each other.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be like for every 2 roasts, I'll throw in a half-hearted encouragement to you afterwards. You should be over-encouraging to your best friends and to just everyone around you as being a light to the people around you.
Yeah, I think one of the personal things that I try to keep as a goal is like every joke I make should be met by a piece of encouragement. So if I make fun of one of these guys, I immediately want them to know that I do still appreciate them and I don't want them to go hurt themselves or something. Because if you know me, I make fun of them a lot, all right? But every joke, every roast should be met with encouragement. Because if it's not, if you make fun of your friends more than you hold them up and try to keep them going, then you're letting them down, you're letting the friendship down, and eventually it is going to fall apart because the two of you are just, one of you is going to get sick of each other. It's what it is. I want myself to build a reputation of what is a good heart, of someone who's always so kind and loving and encouraging and uplifting that everyone around me they want to be around me, they want to talk to me, that they feel better when after the day's over and we're done hanging out. I don't want a single person around me to not feel better about themselves and me have to take the blame for it. So I take it's my personal goal to hold everyone up that I can and just to be encouraging in every way that I can.
Yeah, so a big key that I've learned since being at Faith Family is something Josh Pancher says all the time. If you've ever heard him speak, almost every time, he'll say, show me your 5 friends and I'll show you your future. My 5 friends, or 4 friends, Darius, Danny, Eris, and Brendan, they've pushed me in my faith more than I've ever been pushed before. They've held me accountable. Brendan all the time, he'll text me, have you soap today? Have you soap today? Send me your soap. Hey, I found this verse. Hey, I found this song. Darius, he pulls me aside every once in a while and we talk stuff out. Danny, me and him are texting all the time to talk to each other about stuff. Eris, me and him are shooting each other songs and texts and stuff. And it's just being present with your friends and pushing them. Because the whole point of having best friends, especially at church and stuff, is that they're pushing you towards God. And Proverbs 18:24 says, a man of many companions may come to ruin, but there's a friend who sticks closer than a brother. And a little illustration to go along with that is, you've all heard the phrase, I'd rather have 4 quarters than 100 pennies, in reference to friends. And that's, I'd rather have 4 really amazing friends than 100 fake half-hearted friends. And that's true. Because with those 4 friends, you only have 4 really good people that you talk to, but they're only in it for the best for you. Whereas if you have the 100 pennies, you have 100 people's baggage and you have 100 people's life problems that you're having to hold and you're having to deal with and you're having to talk to them about. And that can be overwhelming. And really, you can't handle that much on your own. All right, and also 2 Corinthians 6:14 says, do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. For what partnership has righteousness with lawlessness, or what fellowship has light with darkness? And that looks like Darius was talking about, how you might have those friends that you're hanging out with, but they're leading you where you don't want to go. Like, bad company corrupts good morals. Like, you don't want to be pulled down by the people around you, and who you hang out with a lot is who you're going to be. That's who you're going to turn into in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years. And really what this I think the best illustration to how your friendship should look is in Jesus' life. And if you want to throw up the first graphic, Jesus, like in the Gospels, he was at the center of everything. And around him, he had the 12 disciples. And they were with him all the time. They were eating food with him. They were sleeping in the same house he was sleeping in. They watched him perform miracles. They watched him teach every sermon. And they were just constantly around him. And outside of that, there's another circle of people who were close followers, but they weren't always there. They weren't there at every moment of Jesus' ministry. They just followed. They would hear him a lot, but they weren't quite as close. And then outside of that, there's just everyone else he reached. He would reach so many people. And in our friendships, and if you want to put up the next slide, our friendships should look similar. Christ should always be at the middle of our friendships. You shouldn't ever have a friendship where your friends aren't pushing you. Well, you should have your closest friends, I should say, that are always pushing you to be more like Christ. Those are my people like Darius and Brendan and Eris and Danny, where those are the people I go to get advice from. I'm not getting advice from people who aren't trying to push me towards God. And outside of that, there's the other friends. There's the people, they may not be Christians, and they don't have that big of an influence in my life. I'm not going to listen to everything they say to me because they're not trying to push me the way these guys are. And outside of that is everyone we're called to reach. Everyone in Canton, as you, in the surrounding area, and in Louisville, and everyone in Hoover, and all those people that you see every day that you're called to reach and you're called to show who Christ is to. And when it comes to your close friends, those are the people you're honest with. Those are the people who are going to keep you accountable, who are going to keep you encouraged and on track and going to push you. Hey, have you read? Hey, how's your, like all the time, Brendan, how's your soaping life? How's your spiritual life? How are you? Because they're interested in you and they want to know and they want what's best for you. But also, you're not telling everyone everything because all that is just, it makes drama. You don't want that. You don't want to be the person where every time you're around, all you do is talk about your problems. That's not really a friend because you're not interested in the other people. You're only interested in yourself. And also, the people who aren't pushing you to be like Christ, don't be influenced by them. Don't let them push you in a direction you don't want to go. You can stand up for yourself and you don't have to follow the crowd. A lot of the times, we don't look like a lot of the kids our age because we're okay with that. We're okay to stand apart from everyone else. And we're able to do that because we have each other. But also, you don't let someone else who's hurting hurt you. Josh Pancher all the time says, hurting people hurt people. And a lot of the times when you're different, people, they kind of hurt you sometimes. Like, it really hurts when you think of somebody as a friend and they don't act as a friend towards you. But you also have to realize that not everyone is actually your friend just because they say, hey, we're friends, right? You don't need to listen to every voice that's in your life. You need to listen to your parents. You need to listen to the leaders like Rich and like Ryan and all them. And you need to listen to the people who are training you up to be that follower of Christ that you're trying to be. And the last thing I want to leave you guys with is avoid toxic and unequally yoked relationships. Those are the friendships that they're trying to get you to fight your family and your friends all the time. They're trying to get you to go to places you know you shouldn't go to. That they're telling you, oh, don't listen to your parents. They don't know what they're talking about. You don't want to follow those people because they aren't interested in you. They're interested in themselves and in their fun for a time. The best, closest friendships should always bring you towards Christ. Some of you today might not know what that looks like, and Brendan's here going to talk about what a relationship with Christ looks like.